Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone Ranger sold his bad dog. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know, 'cause times change, I know.
On some days he's more than humble. On some days he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. On some days he's more than humble. On some days he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say.
Come along, join the fun, in a world where adventure is never done. Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, together we go. Hand in hand we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode.
lower your shields and surrender your ships.
Come
We
along,
will add your
join the
biological
fun.
and technological
In a
changes
world
to
where
the world.
adventure is never done, every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the land, together we go. Hand in hand, we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show.
Check, check, check. There we go. There we go. Yo, what up, Raiders? What up, Twitch? What up, Papa Vaughn, first in? What up, Pharaoh? What up, Tenacious Liege? What up, Crix? What up, Digital? What up, Charm Chaos? What up, what is in a name? What's in a name? What up, Stellar Wingman? What up, Political Puppy? What up, Ponder Monkey? What up, Joint Specialist? What up, Textilian? What up, Beckley? How you doing? What up, Allie? What up, Triton on Titan? What up? What up, Segfault? Yeah, Ben, what up? And also, I have no idea why that got auto-modded. What up, Charm Chaos? What up, Andy? I think that's everyone. What up, Fancy Pudding? What up, Bark Eater J? Then we got his blanket wash.
Be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war.
Yes, 34 months. Thank you, homie. What up, Political Puppy? Did I say hi to you? If not, if I did, either way. We do have a Stampy. He's got a washed blanket, so he is here. And that's nice. It's nice. He's a good boy. Yeah. I was working on it. You want to do the bad news first? Today has actually not been Nat Talk. I'm gonna go with welcome in. Today has not been a really good day. I got a Stream Deck. It needs a USB-C. I do not have a USB-C on my computer, so I had to order an adapter. That has to wait. Twitch apparently does not like Sora videos for alerts. None of those are seeming to work. So I've actually turned them off so that nobody spends channel points on them. And I just realized that because Tuesday is election day, I am working 8 days straight. 8 days straight. Including election day, which is like 16 hours, something 12 hours, something ridiculous. But I did get to make this, which is fun. And of course it's muted. Muted. Hold on. Pixelated Puga. What up? What up, chef? Let's try this. Jesus Christ. Oh, apparently I also did the update for OBS, so I have to fix everything. So we're just going to do that right quick. There we go. That's nice. Let's try again.
Join the fun in a world where adventure is never done.
Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow.
It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. Come along, join the fun in a world where adventure is never done.
Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow.
It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show.
The only flaw in it is it's learn, discover, excover, and explore. So I'm not sure what excover is, but we'll be doing that today. The Froopers will be excovering. What up, Poodlehawk? I'm driving, but I wanted to ask, since you mentioned elections, do you know anything about the California Prop 50? I won't be able to respond likely. I do not. I do not. What up, people? I do not know about. I'm in New York, so I know New York things. Discovering is an AI thing. Distinctly possible. You want snacks? Should we give Stampy snacks before we get started? Oh, yeah. Okay. BITCH. I'm on it, Stampy. I'm on it. Stampy snacks. Stampy snacks. Them's the facts. There's Stampy snacks. You did your part. You joined the show. And after you get snacks, you're going to go. Ask me how I know.
I'm mortality as home entertainment. This cannot be the future.
He's a good boy. Got snacks.
You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war.
Humanity. 22 months. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, lurkers on the channel. Humanity. On the website, not the channel. Yes. Can I help you? But I gotta do the show. You want to do the show? Then I have to do the show. This is the joy. But I'm getting kisses. I'm getting love and kisses. All right. This is the content, yes. My buddy, my buddy. All right. Before we get into the real content, we're gonna get rid of all the hangers on, the people, you know, who don't have the stomach for the content. New AI music video.
Sitting in the morning at the diner on the corner. I am waiting at the counter for the man to pour the coffee, and he fills it only halfway. And before I even argue, he is looking out the window at somebody coming in. It is always nice to see you, says the man behind the counter to the woman who has come in. She is shaking her umbrella, and I look the other way as they are kissing their hellos, and I'm pretending not to see them, and instead I pour the milk. Oh yeah. I open up the paper, there's a story of an actor who had died while he was drinking. It was no one I had heard of, and I'm turning to the horoscope and looking for the funnies when I'm feeling someone watching me. And so I raise my head, there's a woman on the outside looking inside. Does she see me? No, she does not really see me, 'cause she sees her own reflection. And I'm trying not to notice that she's hitching up her skirt, and while she's straightening her stockings, her hair has gotten wet. Oh, this rain, it will continue through the morning as I'm listening to the bells of the cathedral. I am thinking of your voice and of the midnight picnic once upon a time before the rain began. And I finish up my coffee, and it's time to catch the train.
What if we're making the same mistake?
Hold on, Nate. I like it. Some people came in. What up, Jensen? What up, Leftist Corp? What up, Brad? What up, Xenomonic? What up, Exile? Welcome in, everybody. Yeah, no, there is a lot. I think that the home, the local models for AI music creation have reached a level. Because if you try to use lyrics on lyrics of an existing song to do an AI cover on like Suno, it won't let you, right? It says no. So they have to be doing it at home. That was an AI song, yes, Exile. That was created with AI. Yusef173, welcome in. How do you see the future of software in the AI era, especially now that Amazon is laying off thousands of engineers? How do you view the next few years in the field? I'm a recent computer science graduate, and honestly, I'm feeling a bit disappointed about the current situation. That's a fair question.
I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe.
Thank you for the follow. There is a video. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to it. Behind the 30,000 Amazon cuts. I still think that there is going to be a need for people in who not only know how to code but understand what the code means for at least the coming period of time. I think that AI is going to be able to do a lot of heavy lifting in like almost like the boilerplate area of coding, but you are going to you're going to find it harder to get off or to get work at like Amazon. But what you end up with is a whole lot of skilled people who will be available to do stuff. And there are that creates opportunities, right? Like that creates opportunities for people to get together and create, right? Whether it's with startups, whether it's with just a collective getting together. I think there are opportunities for people, to find each other, and especially because most of the work that tech savvy people can do is it can be remote. You don't necessarily have to be in the country. I think leftist court makes a good point, right? Find the industries that are going to need to add AI to their systems. That is, you're going to have to learn to use AI. You can not, but that's absolutely a choice that's going to cause you a tremendous amount of difficulty. Also, your own skill level increases the more familiar you get with programming in general and programming with AI. Yes, we have some people in the community. Ribbons does a lot of coding with AI at their job. There are some other people who, like, I don't know if the coding is their job, but like they have jobs in which they do code and they use the AI tools. I highly recommend anyone in software engineering, computer science, anything like that, you have to become familiar with things like Cursor, or whatever your drug of choice is in that regard. But excuse me, something along those lines. Yeah, and then you have people who do that kind of thing. So, what are my thoughts on the free AI courses? It really depends on who you're getting it from. Um, the like, if the person is reputable, then yes, Mountain Time 420. Just smoke the weed, kids. Um, if the person doing the course is good, then it's going to be a good course. If the person is excuse me, Zenemotic. Yes, I was going to get to that. Liz, the developer on Instagram, right? Set up the multiverse school. The multiverse school is fantastic. There are some other ones.
I'm mortality as home entertainment. This cannot be the future.
No, but it really can. That's the problem. Free Code Camp on YouTube has some good courses. And who's the other one? GitHub has like free courses, AI for beginners, that kind of thing. And then yeah, I mean, I would just recommend what is my work? I work in food service at a hospital. That's what I do. Yeah. Back to Nate. The AI bubble is fake.
Mistake today with AI that we made with COVID in 2020, looking at today's imperfections instead of exponential growth rates. Julian Schrittwieser from AlphaGo, MuZero, and now at Anthropic says the data shows we have 18 months until 10x productivity, and the frontier labs are not seeing any slowdown whatsoever. In other words, the bubble is fake news. Let's get into what he said in his hour-long podcast and even better essay.
Nate is a member of the Bearded Brotherhood, but yes.
That he wrote last month. I'm going to give it to you very quickly in just a few minutes, and I'm going to give you my take as well. Let's jump right in. Okay, first, why is the bubble narrative backwards? Julian's argument is that humans are very bad at understanding exponential growth. When something doubles regularly, humans consistently fail to grasp what's coming because today does not feel any different from yesterday. And so bubble skeptics will see AI continuing to make mistakes on tasks and will conclude it will never work. Or more recently, we'll see multi-hour work from AI agents inconceivable at the beginning of 2025 and say we're not making fast enough progress. This is the same cognitive error, Julian argues, that led people to dismiss COVID as just a flu, even as case counts were doubling every week. We humans tend to focus on extending the patterns we see and are very bad at seeing exponentials. And this includes smart people, right? During any time of rapid transformation,
he is talking about the general AI bubble. There are people who are claiming we have an AI bubble, right? And that what we're looking at is an AI bubble, similar to what we were looking at in the dot-com bubble era. Is it possible there's a bubble? Yes, I will get to that in 1 second. Is there a possible there was a bubble? Yes, it's always possible under capitalism that there is a bubble. Is this bubble, if it is a bubble, anything like the dot-com bubble? It is not. No, Julian Schrittwieser. Meh. I will post the name in chat. If I could do it without breaking it. Bubbles all the way down, baby. So apparently there was a viral post. I'm going to assume it's his blog here. This is Julian. This is the conversation that Nate is talking about, I'm going to say. That is an opinion you can have, Crix. It is nothing like crypto, however, because crypto has very limited utility and AI has significantly expanded utility. So.
simple math will often beat expert intuition. The joke is the straight line on the graph will beat expert intuition because expert tends to anchor on how fast things have changed in the past. A great example of this, one of my personal favorites, is the solar rate of install. So if you look at the graph of the solar rate of install, it is an exponential curve. It goes straight up. But if you look at the graph of projections for solar, it is missing every time because experts just cannot get an exponential curve.
This is actually a hilarious graph. Do you have that? Nate? No, you don't. Ew, Reddit. Gross. With a link to yeah. This is what it looks like. Where's the graph? How are you going to have the graph that leads me here and not include the graph? Okay, so this is the outlook, right? Slow, 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 starting to pick up, right? And this is the projection. These colored lines are the projection. So when asked where is the line going to go, it's kind of going to flatten out but go up. It's kind of going to flatten out and then dip and then go up a little. It's going to kind of go and then go up. And you see how at every stage, every year here of the solar power installation, the projections were wrong. And not wrong as in, off a bit, right? But like so far off the mark as to be ludicrous. And finally, well, maybe it'll just keep going up. You know what I mean? This is what Nate is talking about with the solar projection.
Correct. This leads to widespread skepticism from credentialed researchers whenever we're in an exponential situation, because they struggle to understand that we really are seeing extremely rapid progress, and all of their expertise is calibrated to a different curve, a more normal curve, a more gradual rate of adoption. And that Julian argues that's just not what we're seeing with AI. I would agree. The last piece, I think, is the most important for his thesis. Julian agrees that on the outside,
Papa Vaughn, there's a limit to almost anything, right? But the limit is like the limit of solar power installation kind of thing is so, like there's so many things that we could be powering with electricity, through renewables as one example, that we're currently powering just with fossil fuels, right? Like we could switch everybody's home over to electric. Unlike here's an example. James is currently manufacturing capacity, but we could build more manufacturing capacity. James is currently in a situation where he's paying for home heating oil, and in order to retrofit his house to be like a gas furnace, it's some ridiculous $20,000, something ridiculous, right? In beyond James's capability. You can lay electric, it's this electric subflooring type heating. This shit is amazing. Right? It looks like this. Okay, it comes in rolls. Yeah, radiant heat flooring. And you lay it out, and then you can go over the top of it with like with whatever. And then you can put regular flooring over the top of it. The reason why radiant heating is so much better than like forced air heating is because it literally heats from the floor up as opposed to forced air, which heats from the ceiling down. So the people that I know who have had this installed, they keep their temperature significantly lower than people with forced air because their feet are warm, right? And all the air is warm and it just automatically comes up because science. And we could do this for everyone. Like every house could get electrical radiant floor heating installed and powered by like solar and battery, and then however we handle the off, right? Like whether it's nuclear, whether it's wind, what, you know, that kind of thing. But who would pay for it? But yeah, this is what we could do. Yes, that, you know, like, it's so much better and so much cheaper and wonderful.
Side, it may look like slower progress, but from his position inside Anthropic and as a long-time frontier AI researcher, it does not look like that. And so there's this tremendous information gap between what's visible from the inside and what's visible from the outside. And that's why I wanted to do this summary for you, because I don't think that Julian's interview, Julian's post, is getting enough attention. We need to understand how AI companies see internal measurements on the inside with a lot more detail. So this can create a strange situation, right? People building these systems.
They're a radiant cooling equivalent. That I don't know. Possible. I know you can do things with heat pumps. Okay, so radiant floor cooling is chilled water. And significantly more energy efficient than traditional HVAC systems. Radiant systems use water instead of air as the energy transfer medium, which is far more efficient for moving thermal energy. And you could easily combine that with a heat pump system, and like that. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like the install is probably not common enough to make it cost effective. Yeah. I don't know. That's a rabbit hole I'm not going down.
We'll talk about explosive growth in metrics that matter, but outsiders are still debating, is this true? When will this be deployed, et cetera? And so one example of this, Julian mentions it, I think it's also very important, is how long AI agents are able to work without supervision.
Back in my day, we were just cold or hot.
You'll remember when Anthropic, the company Julian works at, launched Sonnet 4.5, they launched it with a claim that it built Slack in 30 hours, right? I talked about that. People tend to sort of wave their hands and say, well, what did the official sort of test results say? Is it extending the horizon, et cetera? And I think the point is really you continue to see anecdotes like that that are very, very long and multi-day. And even a few months ago, you weren't seeing that. And so the point isn't any given model's specific measure on a given test. The point is whether the AI tide is coming in, how rapidly it's coming in. And Julian's argument is the tide is coming in really fast. It's silly to argue about whether we've hit a wall. We keep seeing these stories from the inside in his perspective and from the outside if we're looking of better and better and better and better performance, particularly on things that matter a lot, like whether AI can operate autonomously. And that is the root of his perspective that internal researchers are seeing things in ways that external, news anchors, external journalists just don't see. I think that's a really important take. And that really, like, if we talk about why the AI bubble is backwards, I think that's the root of it. If you are in San Francisco, if you visit San Francisco, if you talk to people who are on the cutting edge of AI research, none of them are saying that we are hitting a wall. And it's not just the people who have gigantic piles of equity like Sam Altman who have that position, who would have the incentive, right? It is people who are just
And this is the point I was just about to make. Like that people of a particular situation are going to be incentivized to say, oh yeah, no, AI is awesome. Which is where Ed Zitron, for instance, bases a lot of his argument. And other anti-AI people like Adam Conover that we're going to get to a little bit later. But I believe that Nate's about to make the argument that it's not just those people, it's just people who work there, right? So I was invited to Anthropic's Futures Forum in DC as one of the economic researchers. To be honest, much of what Jack Clark and Dario Amodei were saying was extremely boilerplate. The economic specific conference the next day was a little better because since there were real substantive content in terms of public policy. But if the gap really is that big, I think they'd be able to give you sneak peeks just enough to convince you. I'm sure there are models that are way better internally, but I'm not sure we have the infrastructure in place to do a week-long task without it costing like $1 million in compute. Yeah, yeah, and that's part of it, right? Like, and that's why, you know, it, when you start getting into the arguments of you know, people who are AI skeptical, you end up running into these, and I'm trying to be as charitable as possible. I don't want to say like moving goalposts, but you know, it's like, oh, we don't have the infrastructure to utilize some of the models that are being created internally, and like, so we have to build these data centers, and then people talk about the data centers like it's all just fucking smoke and mirrors, right? You know, like, you know, it's like they're building these data centers and like no one's going to use them, or, you know, it's going to do this or it's going to do that. And then a lot of people have view there is that, Tenacious Leech. A lot of people have views that were set around AI from like 2 years ago, right? Like every time I see somebody making a comment about what up, old lobster? Excuse me, how AI can't draw hands, right? You're talking about how AI can't draw hands in 2025. AI can do perfect hands. Not all AI image makers do perfect hands, but you can get absolutely perfect hands. You can get realistic looking fucking people, you know. It is, but it's not even that. It's that it's it's the very thing, Charm Chaos, that we accuse, that we levy as an indictment against reactionary right wingers, right? That you're not interested in hearing any information that doesn't mesh with your confirmation bias. You are doing the enemy is both strong and weak. You are doing all these different things that you would, if it was another subject, you would be holding those people making those claims at you accountable, and you're not doing it with yourself, right? And when you offer, as I do, to talk about these things and provide the information, because the Discord is filled with 2.5, 3 years of fucking content and articles and papers and everything you could possibly want, to at least determine whether or not your position is correct. I'm not even saying convince you. I'm saying determine if your position is correct by the influx of new data, right? But they don't want that. They just want to feel that they know what they're talking about, and that's sufficient. And that's why I don't fucking argue with people in other people's chats. I don't waste my fucking time. I don't waste my fucking energy. And I don't waste their fucking time and their fucking energy. And I don't waste the streamer's time talking about shit. And, you know, because again, in the same context of what I just said, you can make a claim, AI can't draw hands, her, right? That took you all of 2 seconds to type. It's going to take me 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes in order to refute that argument, and I'm going to have to provide you with links, and you're not going to read those links, right? So it's like you're doing the same fucking thing that every chud who comes into a fucking chat goes out about. I'd never ignore you, Crix. That's a lie. Especially when it comes to AI art or music. I just like it and it's fun, but I can't explain it in depth with people. And that's, you shouldn't have to, right? No one, none of you, none of the ones who are in any way AI enthusiasts should not have to defend yourself. You know what I mean? It's like,
researchers like Julian, who are just trying to understand how to make systems that work better, they're also saying we're not hitting a wall. And it's very odd for someone like me to be in a position where I talk a lot to people who are on the outside and who don't understand that and who ask me frequently, is there an AI bubble, Nate? I gotta say, I see the same thing Julian sees. I don't see evidence of a bubble. And I'm really glad he did this podcast. I'm glad he did this blog post because I think he articulates it really well. Let's dive in, though, to what isn't hype. What is the evidence that suggests that we are not in a bubble and that AI continues to progress?
Evidence.
Because I think that it often gets lost in arguments over how much we're spending on data centers or how much we're spending as a percentage of capital expenditure.
I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let the homie spit.
At big companies, etc., how much electricity we'll need. Let's leave that.
Leftist Court, you missed my last stream, which was something like I do not concern myself with the opinions of random people on the internet. By the way, even though I am working 8 days in a row, I do expect to stream on Thursday evening. So there will be a stream 1 week from now. I don't know how enthusiastic I will be because I will probably be tired, but I'm not going to go like 2 weeks without streaming.
To the side for now, and let's look at evidence of progress in AI models. Julian's argument here is that what I referred to previously, how long AI...
I got no strings to hold me down, to make me laugh, make me frown. I got no strings, as you can see. I got no strings on me.
Can get work done is
post-election. The election's on Tuesday, so it would be post-election on Thursday.
Actually the core metric for measuring whether we're making meaningful progress. I think that's really interesting for two reasons. One, it means that maybe the major model makers are converging on a metric that is not easily gamed. And that would be great news because we've had a lot of metrics where you get up to 90, 95% on this test or that test, and everyone sort of rolls their eyes. SWE-bench is an example of that. And people are arguing over ArcAGI all the time and how we can make that harder so you can't game it as easily, math tests, et cetera, et cetera. So the breakthrough insight is really that there is a correlation between what matters economically and the number of hours AI can work. If AI can work longer, Julian argues, then we will get more value from AI. And so it's not just whether you can delegate work, it's whether you can delegate work and effectively get an answer, not just for quick responses, but for long-term work. METR, an organization that Julian cites that is the bar for measuring this, has tracked that we have gone from handling 15-minute tasks to 2-hour tasks in just 7 months. That's how fast things are moving. And yes, is the 30-hour task that I described about rebuilding Slack, is that an outlier when it is compared to 2 hours? It absolutely is. But the overall tide is coming in, and we've moved from 15 minutes to 2 hours very quickly. And so Julian's argument here is essentially the number of hours AI can work autonomously is so tightly correlated to economically useful work that we should view them as the same metric, and we should not use other metrics. Now, he doesn't go so far as to say we shouldn't use other metrics. I'm going so far as to say I don't think a lot of other metrics are useful, and I think that he's correct here. What separates real progress from bubble hype is that we can prove with an independent organization like METR that that duration has doubled every 7 months for a while. And we are on a 7-month doubling track going forward. It's not just that this is after the fact spin. It's a forecast that we have made since the beginning of the year. I remember talking with researchers. I remember talking with others in the AI space who were saying back in January, we are seeing a doubling curve every 6 or 7 months for AI on autonomous tasks. And we expect it to continue through 2025 into 2026. That is a falsifiable prediction, which is a big deal because you can say, well, it didn't come true. In this case, they made the call. It has come true. We are seeing exactly what they predicted. that the ability of autonomous agents to do work is extending and extending and extending. And by the way, this is not just about Claude. I know Julian works at Anthropic, but Codex also is capable of very long-running workloads. I saw a story on X where Codex was asked by a researcher to do a 60-hour task and was able to do it autonomously for 60 hours. Again, just one anecdote. I'm not saying it's going to score 60 hours on the METR test, which technically measures the human equivalent amount of time,
What up, A-Fan?
not just the AI amount of time. But the point is sort of the tide is coming in, right? We see longer and longer autonomous tasks being something that we can do. Now, a skeptic would argue, look, Nate, you just talked about SWE labs. You talked about how you can game tests. Maybe AI labs have optimized for this test. But OpenAI just released a completely different evaluation called GDP-Val, which is 1,300 plus real work tasks across 44 different professions. And they were graded by very...
I also want to, again, point to the fact that Nate is using the word task and not job, right? This is a very important distinction, because there will be people who say AI can't do my job because I do this and I do that and I do the third. And it's not about whether AI can do your whole job. It's about what tasks that you engage with over the course of a shift can that AI take over, right? And then again, the example, if you have 10 people on the team and the AI can do 20% of the tasks, then you have 8 people on the team, right?
Experienced professionals, not by OpenAI. And they could not tell if they were rating human or AI work. It was a double-blind test. And the result was the same pattern of exponential improvement on an entirely made-up exam that did not exist when the models were trained. In other words, 2 independent measurement systems, one created entirely after the models it was measured, and it showed the same doubling pattern. You're measuring something real. And that's sort of Julian's argument. Julian actually specifically praised OpenAI because they published GDP-Val, even though Anthropic's model is the one that did the best, right? And Julian rightly said that's a sign of integrity from the OpenAI team there, right? They're not trying to trumpet their own model and say it did the best. They're saying, in this case, Opus 4.1 did the best on that test. I'm sure, wait a month and we'll see. Now, you might think, having talked about benchmarks a lot, that what I'm saying is that we should trust benchmarks. But I've said pretty clearly, benchmarks are not the thing to pay a lot of attention to. And so what's the solution there? Well, the answer is you want to pick benchmarks that are not easy to game. And that's why I've called out GDP-Val and I called out METR, and Julian calls both of those out as well. It is absolutely possible to optimize for public leaderboards on non-real tests, on tests that are easy to game. And that is what we see in the real world performance.
We are experiencing an enrollment decrease in the comp sci department here. Apparently, students' parents are claiming there's not going to be any job for CS. To each their own, I guess. It's a concern. The problem that people have is that they have to react without data, right? There's not sufficient data to to push people in any particular direction. Like one of the biggest issues that we ran into recently, and we're still running into, is the lack of people in the trades, right? Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, etc. Because 20 years ago, without doxing yourself, of course, Stellar Wingman, right? 20 years ago, it was, you got to go to college and get your degree, right? And 30 years ago was the same thing, right? You don't want to be a plumber, you don't want to do that kind of stuff. And then like we got here and it's like, well, they fucked the whole system on that. And we need those people, right? And those are those are good jobs, especially currently now they're good jobs because of a lot of them are union and there's a decreased amount of workers available, so you can charge more, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, people are reacting because they don't know, because there's not a cohesive system that is built on educating people and then providing them with data and direction on where we are headed, you know. There's also not a good safety net to catch them if all of a sudden the world changes tomorrow and people don't have jobs to do.
On GDP-Val of Grok 4 and Gemini 2.5 Pro, both of which have topped many public leaderboards and both of which perform poorly on GDP-Val's real-world.
The bubble only on the surface. It's just a bubble. Yeah, well, so is the universe.
Tasks. And it's an example of Goodhart's law, right? When you optimize for a metric, you game the metric instead of building the capability. And so what Julian is trying to argue for is that we want to build meaningful capabilities, we want to measure them in a meaningful way, and we want to show they do real work. So if we step back here and we look at the whole measurement conversation, I think where this leads to is we need to be having much simpler conversations about measurement. We need to be talking about whether agents can do useful work much more than we do, and we need to be talking much less about whether a model has scored a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or 4 on some public leaderboard somewhere.
And this is what there is. It's not a huge shift, but like, there's a shift in this direction. But all of a sudden, all the anti-AI talking points are, they were talking about AGI any day now, and now they're shifting the goalposts to, they're talking about useful work. It's obviously
because it doesn't matter. And I'm really grateful for Julian for saying it, because it's really true. Overall, across the technical side of things, Julian also doesn't see a wall. And he talks about it in a fair bit of detail. He talks about the idea that you can pursue reinforcement learning and continue to grow by looking at massive amounts of human written text. And that's true. And that's really important for forming good models. And one of the things that he calls out is that this sort of body of excellent human text, like scientific papers or high quality books, is something that enables Anthropic in particular to pursue pre-training that gives both efficiency and safety benefits, which is a fancy way of saying if you start with a strong, clean corpus of human knowledge, you actually don't necessarily have the sort of contamination issues you have if you throw Reddit in there, right? Which is something that is actually largely gone from a lot of the frontier models. Now people don't know that, but Reddit has mostly been purged out because it didn't end up being a high quality source of data. It's not complete.
So the next time you hear, Ben, thank you for the gigantic emote. Next time you hear, as some streamers on this website are want to do, about how it's just Reddit, it ain't Reddit anymore. Now what?
Completely gone, but it's like 1-2% of the total. So another technical point that he made that I think is really significant is he went back to his own.
What up, man, Briggs? I actually have one. I do have one. I mostly use a finger comb. I do use beard butter and beard oil. But I spend the majority of my time at work in a a beard net, like a hair net for the beard. And then I'm doing this move with, I got this down to a science, right? It's not like a braid. It's just I just wrap it in the thingy, so then it's all, and it fits in the thing. But yes, I do have one. Thank you, though.
Own experience when he was building machine learning systems in 2016. He was part of the AlphaGo project, which built at Google an AI system that could play Go, which is a game that is harder to play than chess. And there's an infamous story, if you're familiar with the history of AI, called Move 37. And Julian talks about it because it's important for us today. So at the time, AlphaGo was trying to learn to beat the best human players, and it had not done so. And then at one point in a real life game with a real life Go master, it played a 37th move that was considered a mistake by all of the commentators. It violated basic strategy, and everyone thought it was a disaster. But later, as the game progressed, the masters realized that AlphaGo understood the game on a level they didn't. And it was something that led to the game being won. And the masters then realized that actually the move 37 was brilliant. And so Julian talks about this and this idea of a move 37. And what he suggests is that as we start to extend the length of time agents can do work, the amount of useful work they can do, we are going to get to a point where there's a move 37 moment for AI. And we don't know what that will be going in, so we inherently can't, but it is something that we need to be prepared for. We need to expect something like maybe a Nobel Prize scientific breakthrough in 2027, 2028, somewhere in there, where AI can search a solution space faster and more effectively than human intuition, and we get something that would not have been possible at all that is world-changing because of AI. And the last technical piece I want to talk about is this idea of an implicit world model. And Julian talks about that a fair bit. One of the things that I think is really significant is modern LLMs do something similar to like the AlphaGo system that I described. They predict consequences well enough to plan multi-step solution. And so one of the things that Julian talks about in the podcast is that if you can plan multi-step solutions effectively enough, as early AI did with AlphaGo, planning moves, as chess models did. This is back in the day by the 1990s, Deep Blue, right? The suggestion is if LLMs are doing the same thing, if they're able to plan multi-step solutions autonomously as agents and conduct work for many hours, at that point, it's not really just next token prediction. It's using predictions to search possible action sequences and then to plan strings of lines. I do think gaming as a metaphor helps here because you can actually see the strings of moves ahead in AlphaGo or in chess, and it's a similar thing, right? The Go board game, the chess board game all depend on the right moves in the right sequence, and understanding those sequences helps you unlock strategy. And that's what we learned as we built AI systems.
Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
Yo, what up, Raiders? What up, ADT? What up, Michael? I'm gonna do the shout out, and I'm copying the name, and I'll post it in the chat, and I type it exclamation SO, and I hit Control V, and then I hit the enter, and y'all should go follow A Difficult Truth. Difficult Truth is one of my favorite places to go hang out and watch news. It's mellow, right? It's cozy. I don't know that cozy is the right word, but it's a good place, right? It's a good place. I enjoy the place. What up, Cracker Bill? For those of you who don't know, I'm Globus the Elder. I talk about AI, automation, robots, and future tech. We are currently watching a video on why there isn't actually an AI bubble. And for some of you, that's probably not the thing that you've been hearing.
Can play those games. Well, in a similar way, we are now learning that LLMs get good enough at next token prediction that they can predict possible action sequences as a whole. And that's a significant shift that we are starting to see that I think is going to really come out in 2026. Okay, let's look at what the timeline looks like here. So one of the things that Julian is big on, when he talks about falsifiable claims, he wants to make claims that are falsifiable and put his own skin on the line. I'm just going to say them back and let you sort of think about them.
Aren't we all, Michael?
But he's thinking AI will be working full 8-hour days without human intervention by mid-2026. And will be matching human expert performance across many industries by the end of this next year in 2026, and routinely exceeding human experts by the end of 2027. And so what he's saying is the next 12 to 30 months.
Okay, so this is a falsifiable prediction, right? that there will be by around the middle of next year. I'm saying, Van Briggs, I don't know that there is an AI bubble, and I don't know that if there was one that it actually would burst. But I do know that if there is an AI bubble, it's not like the .com bubble. But back to the thing. So by next year, and I could put this into my because we did this with the Dario Amodei claim. So we're talking October 30th. So he said halfway. So what are we talking? July of 26? We'll say by the 30th of July, 2026, check if AI can do full 8-hour shift for Julian S. All right. So now we have a point in the future that we can look to and see if at that point in time, the thing that is predicted to come true has come true, or whether or not we're close to that, have we surpassed that at an earlier date, any number of things, right? We'll be able to look at that. We have a point in time and space to reference. And that's how we find out, right? We don't go off vibes. We do measurements. What up, Ribbons?
We can prove him wrong, or we can prove him right. And really all he's doing is drawing those straight lines on a graph. And so if we ladder up, what does this mean? Number one, it means that we need to think very carefully about where we want to deploy AI systems. So I want to suggest that you should think about this as, where are you strong on task versus where are you weak on task? Because AI is going to be at a point very soon where AI can pick up the things you are weak at. I already see this with solo founders. They're able to have AI pick up their weak spots in ways that solo founders have traditionally just had to suffer through. And I think that's going to be true for other workers as well. Another
And this is like, I cringe. I like can feel my brain slam itself against the back of my skull as it interacts with these capitalism words, right? Like solo founder, startup, and all that kind of crap. But when Yusef came in earlier and was talking about, like the CS field, and others of you were talking about the CS field and like that, and that talent pool, right? And I was talking about people being able to interconnect to do a thing. A small group using the AI tools is going to be able to do a lot more than they would normally be able to do. And in that domain, in that space, you're going to be able to find some like-minded people and create, right? And in that act of creation, therein is going to come the killer app and all that kind of shit.
example that I think is important is that,
yeah, that's my thing, Van Briggs, right? Like I'm trying to get there without all the people dying.
we need to start deciding how we want to talk and think about the idea that 10x more work is capable of being done. Because it's not necessarily clear that the 10x more work is only going to be valuable to a few people. We can choose to be 10x more productive for ourselves. We can choose to jump in where we want to and excel at our skill sets in ways that were not possible because we have.
And that, like, I made this argument before. The guy who wrote the book, The 4 Hour... What up, Lenny? Greetings from west of Boston. The guy who wrote The 4 Hour Work Week, the man himself is, you know, a grindset mindset kind of dude and all that crap. But he did make one good point. And, you know, people tend to have like one good point in them. Was about you can spend a huge amount of time to get very like middling average at the things that you're not good at, or you can spend your time focused on the things that you are good at and that do move you and let someone else handle that other stuff, right? Which this is how society is built. We live in a society, and AI can also help to do that, right? What are you not good at, and can the AI help you in that space?
AI assistance. And so I think that one of the things that is hard to do is to talk about what it means as a society. But one of the things that's easy to do that you and I can do right now is talk about what it means for us, right? If you're a business owner, what does it mean to think about how you empower your employees and help them to do 10x more? If you are a employee, what does it mean to think about the ability to spread out your wings and sort of have a mech suit and do a whole lot more than you could before and have confidence in that? Because at roots, we go back to the idea of you do your strengths, you're going to have expertise that is really, really deep in a particular area. And it's, Julian argues this, and I agree, it is the human AI collaboration around that deep AI expertise that unlocks value. And so I don't see a world of wholesale replacement. And I think it's interesting that this researcher at Anthropic is not arguing for it either. He sees a world of human AI collaboration as well. But we need to get ready for that, right? We need to think about what that means. I say this all the time, but the preparation window for all of this is closing fast, right? If you can draw flat lines on a chart and you're going up, like we have to get ready for this now. And that's one of the things I talk about all the time on this podcast. You have to get ready now. Like there's not another time. Like it will not get easier if you wait 6 months. If I can leave you with one thing about this whole AI bubble conversation, keep in mind that every cloud provider out there, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all of them are doing everything they can to get GPUs in the door for demand for AI. The demand is there. If the demand is that high from businesses, it is hard to argue that we are in a bubble. In fact, on October the 28th, when Amazon laid off 30,000 workers, there is a direct line from that, not to AI and automation. People are going to make this claim that it's all about AI and automating your work away. No, it's a direct line to the freeing up of cash to buy more GPUs for more cloud compute, because the demand for AI from other companies is so great that the capital expenditure ratio at these big cloud companies is getting out of control. And so they're trying to bring down their fixed costs, and that means salaries. So it's not that AI is automating away roles. The existing people are more stressed. It's that you need to free up cash in order to have money to buy GPUs to finance the demand for AI from businesses. That's not a bubble. It is a real hard time for the 30,000 people that were cut at Amazon, and there may be other stories like that as well. But I want to get the narrative really clear. That is not an AI automation story. That is a story about securing cloud compute to deal with surging demand. People are just making financial decisions to reduce fixed costs for the public markets in the next quarterly report, and that's just what companies do. So, summing all of this up, Julian.
Capitalism. Capitalists are going to do a capitalism. Up next, before we get into the Adam Conover shit, another claim that's made by the AI skeptics, especially Ed Zitron, is that Gen AI has not brought around any ROI. And AI Daily Brief has apparently got some information we should look at.
Doesn't think we're in a bubble. I don't think we're in a bubble either.
As we absolutely careen towards the year of AI ROI, here's one area where companies are already finding their investments to be profitable. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. As I have said a number of times on this show and will continue to say, I'm sure, one of the key themes for AI at work next year is going to be actual demonstration.
And again, like if this is your first time here or you're new here, and as why is this dude doing all this capitalism stuff? I am not pro capitalism, right? Not a fan of capitalism. I am talking about the arguments that people are making against the increase in AI prevalence and how it is going to continue.
I'm
It worked.
mortality is home entertainment? This cannot be the future!
Okay, two things.
Can't.
One, I thought I turned that off, and two, and now it's working. I give up. I quit. I give up. I'm not trying to figure out whether or not the alerts are going to work. I got nothing. I'm saying that the arguments that people are making are bad arguments. And that's what I have no patience with. I have no patience with bad arguments, right? Like you're doing vibes or you're doing, grifting.
There was a bunch of nothing, gibberish. Flip flopical, flip topological, flip snobicals. It was a bunch of gibberish, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's a bunch of gibberish, bro. Bubble isn't on the business end, it's on the end user segment. Many average people aren't using it, don't know how to use it, and all of the integrations into consumer products is the primary issue. MPUs aren't leveraged by Copilot, for example, but rather using Copilot, just use the connection to Microsoft Web System. I'm with you on that. Like I've been saying, this is both the government and the AI companies have done a really shitty job of educating people on how to use this. The difference between cannot be the future and not the future is cannot be the future is a clip from the movie Vanilla Sky. And not the future is me making a Muppet do the line in Sora. Right? Like I was in the process of transitioning all the alerts from what they were to the ones I made with Sora.
I'm mortality as home entertainment. This cannot be the future.
Right? Like, I was doing a bunch of stuff. I got this one.
I swear I will not kill anyone.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
Yeah, no, I really want to do puppets because, they're puppets. And who doesn't like puppets? I did not ask for this.
Hey!
In the sense that I did not ask for Kermit and whatever this one's name is. And I think this is Elmo's dad. I just asked for puppets dancing happily, right? Like, because I was building a new intro for the channel, and it just, so not beating the allegations, OpenAI. Then there's this one. Sorry it's so goddamn loud.
Step it out, shake the day away. The world's spinning bright on the global stage. Tap your heels, feel the rhythm flow. Everybody's here for the big show. Laugh and sway, let the good time.
And I now have 15-second videos, which is cool. So I can only count to 4. Yeah, no, I'm going to be doing a lot of, creative things with Sora. But I had a problem earlier where I would go and I would attempt to fire off the like for me they're not there, right? Like the one that not the future that Pharaoh did, I don't have that in my list. I'm not sure how Pharaoh was able to do it. So because I was having a problem that Twitch wasn't recognizing them. And so I thought maybe Twitch was, it's in yours. Okay. I thought maybe Twitch was blocking them because they were Sora or some shit. I don't know. But maybe it's just Twitch being a totally awesome website. I love it here. Thanks, Dan.
Demonstrated performance. The simple reality is we have shifted.
Any of the ones that begin with a capital.
And I feel like at the end of the day, this is just like a straw man that is ignoring the substance of a lot of the comments.
Maybe. Any of the ones that have a capital letter at the start, those are going to be Muppets. If they're lowercase at the start, those are going to be clips.
Fairly aggressively this year from a paradigm of pilots and experiments into much more extensive and large-scale deployments, which is.
I'm glad you understand why I say that there is a bubble. It's not just the standard form of one. If AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA would focus their AI attention to business rather than consumer products, it will work out much better. Since it isn't being leveraged by consumers, it's like throwing money on something that isn't being used. This is where the bubble actually comes into play. I feel you, right? I don't know. I feel like a bunch of the consumer side is like an afterthought, right? It's, or not even an afterthought, something to placate people, right? Where if I placate people, then, you know, oh, look, we've got money coming in, you know, there is a return on your investment. So those people are placated. While in actuality, everything is investment for a future kind of thing. Metric for engagement, sure. I just got that one capitalized option as I wanted to use the capitalist one earlier and it's not there. Well, give me a second. Because if y'all are seeing them, what up, Larry? If y'all are seeing them, then I will go back. Got to four. Got to four. Oh. I'll just turn them all back on again. And we'll see what happens. Now, use at your own risk. If you lose your points, that is not on me. Because I have warned you that they weren't working. You might have to refresh. I don't know. But I turned them all back on.
Of course, not to say that there aren't still lots and lots of things that are still in that 0 to 1 pilot stage. Even companies that are quite advanced in their AI and agent
So that one worked, but the hydrate one did not work. Because reasons.
Strategy still have tons of areas of their company.
The problem is capitalism.
Where there's no AI or agents at all. That said.
And there it goes, steadily dropping. Pretty sure that's bad.
Pretty sure.
The companies that do have some number of months of full-scale deployments under their belt.
What up, Sir Didymus?
Are increasingly going to care about how those deployments are performing in the real world when it comes to making decisions about how they do the rest of that 0 to 1 AI deployment. Arvind Jain, the CEO of Glean, posted about this on LinkedIn this week. He wrote, "Lately, I've seen a clear shift in my conversations with enterprise AI leaders, and with Glean, I can see it in the data too. I asked Glean to analyze our customer call notes from the past couple of years to track how the reasons for adopting Glean."
What up, Sides Politically? I mean, that's it. I don't want anyone to feel that they threw their points down a well and that I'm, you know, you have points and you can do things.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
Probably bad is
Everything is going extremely well.
Probably bad is leagues better than line go down. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Have evolved. From mid-2023 to 2024, improving general productivity was the top driver, behind 67% of Glean implementations.
I think you're doing crime. I am confident you're doing crime.
A year later, that dropped to 37%. Why? Because leaders have realized that productivity for its own sake doesn't move the business forward.
Take care, John Cass.
It only matters when it shows up in measurable
I swear I will not kill anyone.
business outcomes. Over the past year, adoption drivers have shifted decisively towards outcome-based goals. Revenue growth, faster ship cycles, better customer support. Accelerating sales revenue, for example, is now about 5 times more likely to be cited.
Yeah, now we're fruiting with channel points.
As the top reason for adopting Glean than 1 year ago. Every function
and
has
now
its
it's
own
time
North
to pop
Star
up number say, oh, that's a butthole.
metrics that tie AI efforts directly to business outcomes. The bar for AI has been raised. The new standard isn't general productivity, it's measurable business outcomes. Now, what's interesting is that companies are not only optimistic, but getting more optimistic about their anticipated AI ROI. In 2024, KPMG asked CEOs as part of their annual CEO survey when they anticipated to see a return on their AI investment. The vast majority, 63%, said that it was going to take 3 to 5 years. 16% said more than 5 years, and 20%.
The price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay.
Bark Eater J with the Prime 25 months. 25 months. Pretty sure that's 25 months of Prime too. I don't know if you've been gifted subs, but that's a fair amount of Jeff Bezos's money right in my pocket. I think that this is like, are you talking about like? Nope, you're talking about the other thing. I like the orientation, like the way you orient your pie chart matters. I have a nice number of viewers right now too, as well, Ben. And there's a channel point or a bits redeem for that. You'll see pie charts like this where it'll be like rotated Pac-Man style. But I like it when it's bucket style, right? Like where the big part is on the bottom and the littler parts are on top. I just think it's more aesthetically pleasing. So it is a nice pie chart on multiple levels.
20% said 1 to 3 years. Only 1% said 6 months to a year. When they asked that same question this year, the number that said that they anticipated ROI in 6 months to a year had jumped to 19%. And the number that thought it was going to be 1 to 3 years represented a full 2/3, 67% of respondents. Those pull-forward ROI expectations are, I think, part of what's going to be driving
numbers,
such a
analysts report that local support has risen to an impressive 69%, marking a record high for the initiative and signaling broad community approval. Nice.
Focus on it in the next year. If you anticipate a return on your AI investment,
that's excellent, Van Briggs.
In short order, you better believe you're going to spend a bunch of time.
You
have to actually go out and figure out what your ROI is. And while generalist
Is there an echo to all the redeems? Probably. Probably. I'm going to obsess about that, Larry. Fucking audio.
Expectation surveys are super useful. The way that AI is, of course, actually going to make an impact is within specific domains and functions. Not all different types of AI deployments are at the same level of maturity and are going to have different types of dynamics surrounding their performance profile. Artificial Analysis recently released their State of Generative Media survey report. This was based on a survey of personal and organizational users in Q3 of this year. The survey was meant to understand how organizations and individuals are adopting and using both image generation tools as well as video generation tools. Now, notably, this happened before the release of Sora 2 and the OpenAI Video API, but it's still a fairly contemporary study. Let's talk first a little bit about what they found in that sector, and then we'll get into the ROI part. When it comes to image generation, Google Gemini is out ahead of OpenAI. This doesn't surprise me very much. Although the embedded ChatGPT image generation tool can be good under the right circumstances, it has some foibles, and just in general, it's very feature incomplete relative to other image generation models. The fact that it's so high, I think reflects the fact that it's just embedded in ChatGPT. What's interesting about this list is that while the models you would expect are right at the top, there is still a broad base of other tools that lots of different companies are using. Some might be surprised to see Midjourney down at 17%. I'm not necessarily, in the sense that while Midjourney is artistically and aesthetically top of the tops for me and always has been, it still lags in a lot of the very practical areas you need when you're using it for a business purpose, at least, like, for example, text reproduction.
Go get him, Stellar Wingman.
The one that is criminally underused on this list is, of course, Ideogram at just 12%. Ideogram, by a factor of about 10, is my most used image generation tool. On video, once again, Google is in the lead. 69% of respondents were using Veo 3. A lot of the other top models, though, were from China, with Runway all the way down in fourth, with just 30%. And when it comes to adoption patterns, as you might imagine, personal usage is leading organizational usage. Image generation has reached a pretty significant level of ubiquity for personal use at 89%, and is now used by over half of organizations at 57%. Video lags behind, although not as much as you might think. A little over 60% of individual users are using video generation, compared to about a third of organizations. I would have actually bet that was closer to a 20% number, but I may be underestimating how quickly people have understood that AI-generated video could be really useful for some very discrete purposes like ad and social content. Video is definitely more of an experimental stage. While 53% of respondents said that they had integrated generative images into their...
I didn't realize you were streamers, or did I miss? There's a bunch of smaller streamers. You say, price of my love's not a price that you... I shouldn't do it this way. What do? Someday. This is the Twitch version of the top 8. Someday I'm gonna make it into your top 7. No, I mean, shoot, like that's a great reason to stream, to make your own emotes. You know what I mean?
creative workflow. A full 58% said that they were just experimenting with video. When it comes to organizations, the distribution between deployment, prototyping, and exploring was actually pretty similar across images and video. Deployed into production workflows was actually the leading category, again confirming what I was saying before, that we're quickly moving out of the pure experimentation phase. We'll race through a couple of other interesting nuggets when it comes to this category among organizations. It does appear that marketing and advertising are the key use case for organizations with generative video. At 55% of organizations use
Joint Specialist gets it.
Using it for that purpose. But there's pretty good distribution across other areas, including creative storytelling, design, and educational and training content. When it comes to why people and companies are choosing a model, quality remains at the top, which is kind of what we've seen across a lot of different categories, but cost is a still large consideration, with 53 to 55% of organizations saying that lower total cost is a key factor for them. One other interesting note, it looks like organizations are pretty willing to design new workflows around these new tools, with only 27% saying that integration with tools and workflows was a major factor for images, and just 14% saying that it was a factor for video generation. This says to me that particularly video generation might be a new capability that is coming online for the first time because of AI, rather than as just replacing some existing workflow. There's a lot more in here. I would encourage you to go check this out, but this is the big chart. When asked when you expect to see a return on investment from your organization's media generation initiatives, 34% said that they were already seeing ROI. Another 31% said that they expect ROI within the next 12 months.
That seems to be different than the MIT study. Not to say that the MIT study didn't provide accurate data, but that it omitted certain other data, 95%.
Meaning that a full 2/3 of organizations are already seeing ROI or anticipate it within a year. Another 23% said that it would be 1 to 2 years. Once again, we see ROI expectations being pulled.
And to be fair, right, we're going to, grain of salt, because we didn't look at this. We don't know all the numbers, like how many organizations, how were the organizations selected, did they respond? There's a whole bunch of methodology questions. Have I seen the Clippy short you dropped? I have not. It can't be any worse. It can always be worse. There's a bunch of methodology questions that we would have to look at, before we accept this wholeheartedly. But it does provide countervailing data.
Forward in a pretty significant way. Zephyr on Twitter described this as AI-generated video and image having crossed the ROI Rubicon, and I think that's a pretty good way of putting it. Now, beyond this one study, you're also starting to see reports pop up pretty.
Every time I said it tenaciously, it was like, am I saying that wrong? Like, I felt like I was saying it wrong.
Frequently, indicating where organizations are seeing the actual practical benefits of AI. On Monday this week, CNBC published a story called AI is driving huge productivity gains for large companies while small companies get left behind. This was based on a Wells Fargo research note that shared that productivity for the S&P 500 is up 5.5% since ChatGPT. For the smaller companies of the Russell 2000, real revenue per worker is actually down 12%. Now, this is that particularly
parkours
vicious macro approach to measuring productivity that's not getting in there to do studies around how much faster people are doing their work, but is instead just looking at revenue compared to headcount. But still, the narrative here is that at least for big companies, AI is having a positive impact on productivity.
Flip-flopical, flip-topological, flip-snobicals. It was a bunch of gibberish, bro.
What is this, Pezzy? Oh. Who? So yes, I get it, but who should they buy from? Right? This is my question. Who did they buy from? Who did they invest in? Who's doing the thing that they're doing? Yeah, fair enough, Larry.
What's interesting is that another study, this time from Intuit QuickBooks, found that small companies were seeing productivity gains. In fact, more than 7 in 10, 75% of those organizations using AI said that it was boosting their productivity, up from 46% a year earlier in July of 2024. When you look at the chart, you can see a massive increase in organizations that say AI is very helpful or somewhat helpful, and a very significant decrease in organizations who found it neutral. 56% said that they're more productive than 3 months ago. This survey, by the way, tried to do away with the complexity of productivity by simply defining it as higher output for the same or lower input costs. There are some other interesting notes in that survey. For example, 24% said that their workdays are shorter thanks to AI, all of which seems to suggest that while market performance for small companies might be off relative to the big guys, small companies are certainly seeing the benefits of AI in practice. I think we are just at the very beginning of this conversation around AI's ROI, and I would expect real results over the following weeks, months, and year.
Yeah, Pezzy, that is a super valid concern, right? Is that the United States should probably be in a recession right now, except for the AI stocks pulling everything up, right? That is something to be concerned about. Because if the naysayers are correct and it does turn into a bubble and something, and line go down bad, right? Because it's not hiding. There's nothing to hide anymore. And that would, I still don't think I still don't think it's a bubble in the sense that most people are referring to it as a bubble, but that is something to be concerned about. Phrasing. Go down fast and hard. Don't go down fast and hard. Ease into it. Take your time.
I will use this as an excuse to tell you once again about the big AI ROI benchmarking study that we're doing.
It's not going to happen tenaciously, or at least it's not going to happen anytime soon. We are so far from that kind of behavior. I understand, and people like to talk up bricks, but bricks just isn't there yet. It's not. That's not going to happen.
We're having people share the use cases that are driving value and what specific value it's driving, be it time savings, cost savings, new revenue, new capabilities, or something else entirely. It's been live for about 1 day, and we've already had hundreds of use cases with their ROI shared. And I think that with your help, we could actually make this the biggest repository of AI ROI data that exists. Find it at roisurvey.ai. And for now, that's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening, as always. And
all right. It has been a little over an hour and a half, and y'all have put up with everything. Now is the chance to listen to Adam Conover tell us why there's an AI bubble. If you give me your link, you got a link, Maddie? We can definitely get Clippy in there.
And I feel like at the end of the day, this is just like a straw man that is ignoring the substance of a lot of the comments.
And now it's time to pop up number 6. Oh, that's a butthole.
This is Glorp, the Comedy Monster, and Imperial Roads. I got fired by an AI chatbot.
He's...
Jesus.
What? He's really gonna revolutionize our industry. I think he's gonna make our jobs much more efficient.
I don't understand. So, what's happening?
Well, why don't we just go to Glooby? I'll let him introduce himself.
Good morning. I'm Glooby, the AI assistant. Company productivity is down, and I've been prompted to create efficiency. If you're on this call, you've been deemed unnecessary.
No.
But don't worry, the company will be fine.
Is this a joke?
No way.
Wait, do I still have a job?
Glooby is actually going to be taking over most of your roles.
Are you serious?
He doesn't sleep. We don't have to pay him. It's just good business, y'all.
Honey, what's wrong? I don't know. I think I got laid off by a talking paperclip.
Anything humans can do, I could do better.
We just had a baby and she needs surgery. Are you gonna pay for my baby's surgery?
You've been muted. Thank you and have a Merry Christmas.
He's...
What?
And now Adam Conover.
Until next time, peace.
So considering that OpenAI is now the most valuable private...
I knew exactly what fingers those were, Pharaoh.
...private company on the planet, it's kind of weird that lately they've been flailing around like a tube man in a used car lot.
They haven't been flailing, but go ahead.
The super secret hardware device they've been working on is on ice due to technical difficulties.
Because it's hard to build new devices.
And after enormously hyping GPT-5 as the coming of AGI, whatever that means, when GPT-5 was finally released after multiple delays, it was met with scorn and disappointment by its own users. And
yeah, some of them. Other people liked it. Some of them were just used to GPT-4 and 4.5, and they wanted that back. Yes, Ben. This is the argument I've been making, right? If YouTube were to drop an AI that auto-balanced the videos, that would go over like gangbusters.
So after a long run of bad press, to prove the haters wrong, Sammy Altman released Sora 2, a TikTok knockoff chock-a-block with AI slop. And
Sort of.
The first time you open Sora 2, it's...
I'm glad, Sir Didymus. They were scoffing at the update of the model, not the model itself. Yeah, no.
It's kind of superficially impressive to see all these slick videos made with just AI prompts, but hey, wasn't AI supposed to change the world?
See, and this is the problem when they lump all the AI together into the same bucket, right? You know, it's like, oh, they're using it to do this thing, so this means this other thing must not be happening. I said that before with the, where they were, the talking points pivoted to another direction, and they say, oh, so AGI is off the table.
Cure diseases and replace millions of workers? So why did OpenAI release this? It's kind of baffling, isn't it?
No, again, I've used it to create things, and you could too if you actually engaged with the technology.
In fact, the more I think about it, it seems like Sora 2 is one of the weirdest and in many ways worst apps to ever make it into the App Store. And I've tried Pimple Popper Lite. So first of all, Sora gives you the option of letting anyone make an AI deep...
Yes, Pezzy. Which is why when OpenAI said they were going to, kind of turn this stuff down for, more adult content to be created using Sora 2, and people got all fucking puritanical on the internet. I'm like, who the fuck are you people? This is the internet.
Fake video of you if you take the little step of letting them steal your face. And almost in order to demonstrate why no one should ever do this, Sam Altman himself kindly donated his own likeness for us to have fun with.
But you absolutely get to decide who can use your likeness, and you get to remove it if they use it in something that you don't approve of, right? Like, it's a whole fucking... Yeah, Larry, I just moved on from letting them steal. You voluntarily uploaded your image, and we talked about that before, is that people seem to really enjoy... Haven't met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. People enjoy uploading their own face into certain video games, right? Like, I think the NBA 2K series had that as a feature. I don't know if it's still there, but there were various football and, sports, wrestling, where you could upload your image so you could be in the game, right? So you could see yourself in the game. How is this different?
Which means that when you open Sora, almost 1 out of every 3 videos you see is Sam being physically, emotionally...
No, not that at all. It's not 1 out of 3. But that could be because a lot of my content comes from X1011.
And sometimes almost sexually humiliated by his own users.
Skibida, I'm a CEO in a porcelain spa. Skibidoo, skibida. Yes, that's me. Man, it's so cool. Everything is free. Okay, I'm taking these.
Boy, dumb it up. Bring those back.
Whoa, gotta go.
Stop. Give them back.
Nope, too late. Please, I really need this for Sora inference. This video is too good.
Here's a little video I made of Sam.
It was funny.
Being slapped around by a venture capitalist.
Oh, you use Sora too. It's one of my favorite things about Adam Conover is that he has no actual morals. He's a comedian and will do whatever he wants.
Please, we need more GPUs. The demand is impossible. I can't build the models without your funding.
Oh,
whatever you want.
I hate it here. True.
I'll do it. Just help us buy the chips.
Look at you, begging.
You're a good little piggy.
Oh, and here's one of him falling down the stairs.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
So Adam Conover used Sora 2 to create content that he put in his video, which is
Can you take hats
monetized.
in a dignified and sophisticated manner?
You mean like a weenie? Okay. May I take your hat, sir? May I take your hat, sir? May I...
All right, I've heard enough.
You got the job.
Okay, that was really public.
Oh, he's my puppet to do with as I please. You know, I thought AI was supposed to make me more productive at work or some shit.
I mean, you could use it for that, but then you wouldn't be able to make this video.
But instead, it seems like they made the most powerful bullying tool in human history. But
is this a thing? I'm not a fashion guy, right? But like if I'm wearing a button-up shirt and it has a collar, like the collar is up in the back, not folded down. It just feels like weird to me. But is this a thing? Should I not be doing that? Is this the style that I should be emulating?
you know, it gets worse because you'd think that Sam Altman, a guy who's been accused for years of building his entire business on the stolen work of others, would know.
You can accuse, but looks fine to you? All right. He has it, so no, don't copy it. Fair. Colors are not meant to be popped. I'm not talking about popped, right? But there's like a fold, right? There's the collar, and then it's folded, but it's still like, it's up, right? At the halfway point. And then he's got his rolled back so that it's like flat.
Better than to just overtly rip off copyrighted characters and works, right? Wrong.
You know how fast you were going? Get out of the car, now. Don't play dumb with me. Open the door. Now. Damn it, stop the car!
When Sora launched, they just gave users the ability to steal copywritten IP, just like Pikachu stole that car. And then they claimed that they weren't expecting the copyright drama. I mean, you cannot commit a theft of intellectual property this gargantuan.
Nothing has been stolen, right? This is the problem. You're claiming theft, but there's Bish. Why is Bish? Automat is on one again. Yeah, you make a claim that it's stolen. Stolen implies a legal determination. The legal determination, the precedent currently is that training your AI is transformative and therefore fair use. Right, but I feel like I've done them all. Kairos, welcome in, homie.
And then claim, oopsie, did Sammy make a stinky? No, Sammy, you wanted to make this stinky because all this drama just builds the hype for your fucking app. But now that they've been caught, they've made it just a little bit harder to use copyrighted.
It's been harder since I did it. I did show you the one where it had Kermit in there. Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. And just like Adam Conover, I feel betrayed by Adam Conover. Not gonna lie, right? Adam ruins everything. I was into that show, right? Like I was into it. I felt that he was doing, you know, the thing where like, this is what you believe, but these are the actual facts. But then when he ventured into talking about AI, and just because he doesn't like AI, he will ignore facts, he will misrepresent facts, he will just fucking lie about shit in order to get his point across, means that now how much of the stuff that he did during Adam Ruins Everything that I actually was a fan of was bullshit, right? Like, And he took the money from the crypto people, and then he gave it back once he got caught. Fucking scumbag.
Works, even though I still see them all the time on the app. But you know what's worse than that? Literally about half of the videos I see on Sora are of real people like Bob Ross and Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, these are real fucking people with families, and those families did not agree for these people's likenesses to be used.
So this is, I understand this is an issue, right? I also understand that comedy and satire, which Adam should understand, using the likenesses of individuals is protected speech, right? You should be able to do that. Now, the fact that it's bad, right? Like, as in not good, not particularly funny, not particularly interesting, that's subjective, right? I don't find, I would not do that. I would not use Bob Ross. I would not use Martin Luther King. But I will say that when I see Mr. Rogers pop off while sitting next to Tupac, it's kind of funny.
Sora is not just making Nazi SpongeBob, it's making a tool to defile the memory of the dead. And that is just the beginning of the chaos that Sora is going to wreak on the internet. Because once everyone has the ability to create a realistic looking video, it could make it impossible to tell what is real and what is fake on social media or the internet at large. The itty bitty.
Hey, Adam. Maybe we should spend more time teaching our kids critical thinking, creative thinking, media literacy, and a healthy skepticism, all wrapped in a nice shell of a desire to learn. Maybe that's a good solution to this problem. Because prior to AI, a whole bunch of people fell for a whole bunch of shit which didn't require all this stuff. See, every conspiracy, the flat earth people did not fucking show up when AI showed up.
Any sort of watermark they pop on the videos.
No, Ribbons, everything on the internet is true.
You think somebody would really do that? Just get on the internet and tell lies?
Isn't going to be enough to protect reality. In fact, workarounds for that are already easy to find. I mean, it is trivially easy to use this app to create believable fake news, literal fake news. Here's a clip that I probably shouldn't have been able to make.
In a rare scene amid weeks of fighting, Israeli...
Okay, you could have not made this. Right? Whether or not you should be able to is a really weird thing to say, but you didn't have to do this. I didn't do this, right? Like, holy fuck, dude. We're just gonna...
in Gaza right now, but it might be in someone's best interest to make you think that it is happening.
There's already bullshit with video around what's happening in Gaza, where the IDF is misrepresenting things that's happening, right? That's already happening prior to, like, or without the use of AI. Because fucking most Americans don't speak Hebrew or, I apologize, Arabic or what Palestinians speak, right? Like, Americans, we're not real educated in foreign language, right? At best, you got some people, it is Arabic, thank you, Maddie. You got people who might understand some Spanish. You might understand some, like, whatever your grandparents or whatever spoke or something like that. If you come from a particular neighborhood that's adjacent to an ethnic neighborhood, then you might get some of that in there. But generally speaking, Americans are not good at foreign language. What they are good at is reading whatever some jackass wrote on the video while it's playing. You know what I mean?
And this video is so boring and anodyne, it could actually be taken seriously if posted under false pretenses. So the potential for something like Sora to be used for political propaganda by bad actors is massive. That means that just by releasing this app at all, OpenAI has made the internet less reliable as a source of information, which accordingly means that Sora itself is just fucking bad for humanity. And they've released it anyway. I mean, can we just talk about the
subjective opinion presented as fact?
Immense amount of racist content that people are.
Project fucking Veritas. Thank you, Reed. Right? Like, deceptively edited videos. Right? Like, this is not new.
Using Sora to make. I'm not going to share any of this or even describe it, but let's just say that people on Sora are using the app to make content that stereotypes Jews, black people, and other ethnicities in just the most disgusting ways. Like,
and those people suck. Fuck all of those people. Right?
Imagine what a 15-year-old racist might make for fun, and yeah, that is what Sora is showing me directly in my fucking feed.
And then you can push the little dots and fucking report the fucking video. It's a whole fucking thing you can do. But you actually have to want to do that. You want to make the internet a better place, you actually have to participate in the process of making the internet a better place.
But you know, beyond the privacy and the copyright and the societal implications and even the rampant racism, the app itself just kind of fucking sucks. You just end up scrolling by the same small variations on boring memes like Sam Altman yelling that nothing will happen if you double tap the screen or different.
Yeah, I don't tend to do sorry till the LUL emote doesn't work in here. But you are correct. Twitter does find obscuring the truth without AI video. 100%. Right? Deceptively edited video is so easy to do. What up, Froggy? Yes. Yes, Brad.
Messages, you know, being projected on the exterior of the Vegas sphere. Like, I mean, none of it has any point or any humanity or anything that really distinguishes one clip from the next.
Dude, like, I've seen so many fucking videos on TikTok, YouTube Shorts that were totally 100% created by humans that I don't get it. And before that, Vine. Yeah, y'all had some great Vines, but the vast majority of Vines were shit because that's the way it all works, right? You have the whole of the thing and there's garbage, good, great. And it's all fucking subjective. Where you are on any particular video will depend on your age range, your interests, all that kind of shit. The cream rises to the... I can't do it much, mate. Oh, yeah. WrestleMania 5, yeah. I used to do a really good Macho Man. Dig it!
If you spend 20 minutes scrolling Sora, you leave it just feeling bored. I mean, Sora is the #1 most downloaded app right now because it's a novelty, but I'm not sure that AI-generated videos are really going to be something that people are going to want to keep scrolling through once the...
I don't scroll. I use it to create. I must be Slim Jim deficient. I rarely scroll the videos. That's not my thing. I'm there to create with it.
Novelty of Nazi SpongeBob or Martin Luther King doing stand-up comedy wears off. And you know, another reason Sora might not exactly have the juice is that the economic...
So there the number of videos on YouTube featuring the German painter in a non-historical, sometimes flattering light, by Adam's metric, would indicate that we should not have YouTube, because people can choose to do racist stuff with your tool. Therefore, ergo, to wit, we should not have that tool available. That's the argument. It would be that particular German painter.
Of the app make zero fucking sense. These videos that, millions of users are making.
Also, Adam, you're old. I hate to break this to you, but as an older person, maybe it's just not for you, bud. Right? Like, there is so much. How
many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
Like, I understand the brain rot speak, like, I understand a lot. Like, I can translate it, you know what I mean? What up, Tilda? I mean, I don't know where Adam would fall on that. Is that an acceptable use? But just because you don't understand something, if you're not part of that culture, maybe it's just not for you. C43, he doesn't look any older than when he was doing Adam Ruins Everything, and that was like fucking 30 years ago, right? Something like that. 1982 or 83.
To amuse themselves and their friends are costing OpenAI massive amounts of cash to generate. My friend Ed Zitron estimates that
Ed doesn't appear to provide any source for this information. I'm not sure. It could be completely correct. I'm going to say it's not, because he says costing OpenAI at least $5 per 10-second video, and likely more, right? So Ed is pulling numbers out of his ass.
it costs OpenAI over $5 to make every single video.
That's not what Ed Zitron said. I actually read the tweet, or whatever the hell that was, and did you see what Adam did there? Adam presented the tweet and then lied on the tweet, right? Like, he lies. He's full of shit.
Means that they are losing huge amounts of money on every single user. And critically, OpenAI has no idea how they're going to monetize this app. Altman himself wrote that we are going to have to somehow make money for video generation. People are generating much more than we expected per user, and a lot of videos are being generated for very small audiences. Huh, Sam? Well, maybe that's because most of the videos your app generates suck ass. Because
like most of the videos generated on YouTube, most of them suck ass. He does not, Tilda. Like, it's an important obfuscation. It's an important thing to pretend that you are not aware of. It's a whole thing. This kid.
Sure, when you first scroll in Sora, the videos look pretty impressive. But once you try to generate your own, you realize that 9 out of 10 of them just come out bad. They're not funny. They're not interesting. They're not even really...
Maybe you're not funny. Maybe you're not interesting. The more effort you put into crafting the prompt to craft the video, maybe do some work beforehand. I don't know. Just don't riff. The more effort you put in beforehand, the better your output will be.
Watchable. For instance, remember that video I made of the venture capitalist slapping Sam around? Here's another variation of that same video that I generated while trying to make the first one.
Please, we need money to buy more GPUs. Could you help us out?
That's a good little piggy.
This video...
That felt very Zoomer coded. What up, Snoop? Snoop LVC? Conover lost us as well. This is me going off on Conover for rage bait. I'm gonna upload this. Maybe the clips will be taken if I say something particularly amusing. Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. We'll put it on YouTube, and maybe I'll get some traction from people leaving me hate comments. And this is the game. And if you look at the title of this video, it's not subtle, right? Like, we're doing a thing. What up, Vince?
Video cost Sam Altman $5 to make. These guys are burning forests and draining the last drops of potable water to run data centers that produce an endless barrage of slop videos that are totally unwatchable. And even when you finally get a good video and you post it, at your best, you're making a worse, more boring TikTok. And I want to remind you, TikTok gets all of
Also, the majority of stuff on TikTok, garbo, and only appeals to a small audience and is only generated for a small audience. And again, when I say garbo, I mean, for me, the VC in my name is for Vibe Coder, because knowing AI is going to be a key moving forward. Good. We do have all types here. We have the majority of people, I would say, are somewhere between like pro AI or at least not anti AI. We do have some people who are not fans of AI in the community, but they are here to learn what's actually going on as opposed to the bullshit they get from most of the outlets, and that kind of thing. So, welcome in. Wait until he learns how many trillions of gallons of water are lost simply by leaky pipes. True. I'm an agnostic AI commenter. Semi-agnostic. I think people are not going to bother putting it up unless they think it's pretty good. And that's the thing, there's a lot of video that falls in the my mom thinks I'm funny category, right? It's funny to you. It's funny to a couple of people that you know, and that's about it. Right? Maybe it relies on some in-joke. Maybe it's you kind of had to know something else. It's not an in-joke, but you appreciate a situation, right? Like, if you have a joke that's based around the culture of Atlanta and you are not from Atlanta, you are not going to get that joke. That kind of thing. Culturally specific. There's so many, and that's why it's all subjective, right? Like, it's all subjective. So when I say something is garbo, I mean just for the broad audience. It's not going to get 1 million views. It's not going to be commercially successful. It's not going to do any of that. From the point of view of any subjective viewer, majority garbo, some good, a little bit great.
Their videos for free. We're all out there toiling for the TikTok, uploading videos we make ourselves in exchange for nothing but a little bit of attention. But Sora has to pay through the nose for every single video.
Brad, that's the same guy. This is what we've discovered.
And they have absolutely no plan to monetize. Even the brains behind Pimple Popper Light were savvy enough to include ads. Some say too many. So nothing about Sora makes any goddamn sense as a tech product. It's expensive to run, it's harmful to society, it's boring, and it makes no money. So it begs the question, why did they make this fucking thing at all? Because do you guys remember when AI was supposed to solve all of our problems? Remember that?
Right, because all AI is the same AI. So the AI you use to make the videos is the same AI that's going to save society, in Adam's estimation. It's important to tie all these things together because he's preying on the ignorance of his viewers.
That they said it was gonna
definitely fell off. Fuck this guy.
Cure cancer, make work easier, give us all a life of leisure and luxury. So what the fuck are they doing? Why did they make a goddamn TikTok clone instead? Nobody asked for that. What could it be?
Nobody asked for that. I love when people say nobody asked for that. I mean, at least one person did, right? And the Sora app gained users faster than ChatGPT did. I'm not sure like where it falls on the first to 1 million or whatever. Exactly, Snoop. This video is way too long. It is. And we're only a third of the way through it.
Because they don't actually have any better ideas. Could it be that Altman and the rest of the AI industry don't really know what this technology is supposed to be used for at all? Could it be that they've been flailing and lying to us, and that Sora shows that the entire...
That's called projection. Is it possible that Adam is on hard times right now and is flailing and lying to us in order to make money, like his friend Ed Zitron?
Entire AI industry is a bubble primed to burst, and that when it does, it's going to drag down our entire economy with it? Well, yeah, I think it might, and I'm going to explain.
I'm not the guy, Snoop. I think most people's stand-up is cringe in one way or another, not particularly funny, whatever. Like Mark Maron, I think is funny. Mark Maron is a stand-up that I would watch, right? Like, so that gives people a reference as to what I would find funny from a stand-up comedian.
Explain why in this video. But real quick, if you want to support this channel and all...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All the humans who make this content for your human brain, head to patreon.com/Adam Conover. We would love to have you. And if you want to sit in a dark room with some other humans and have the collective social experience of laughing and expressing your humanities together, well, come see me on the road. I'm taking my brand new hour of stand-up comedy to Tacoma, Brooklyn, New York at the Bellharburg, Pennsylvania. OpenAI released ChatGPT, and it became the fastest growing app of all time. Today, it has around 700 million weekly users. And granted, a lot of those people are just fucking around. You know, they're using it to write fetish fan fiction. They're making images of the Joker where...
How dare people use the internet to write fetish fan fiction? That's a bold fucking statement. You do not want to get on the bad side of people who use the fucking internet to write fetish fan fiction. They will come for you.
He's saying, hello, I love you. You know, the biggest use case seems to be getting the answer to things you just could have Googled, but whatever, the numbers look big, right?
Sometimes Google is best. Sometimes classic search is best. Sometimes AI search is best. There are the reasons to use both.
So the CEOs of the big tech companies see this growth, they shit themselves, and they drop everything to develop their own AI models so they won't be left behind. And these companies are now shelling out fucking ungodly...
None of that was actually how that worked. Both Anthropic and Google were developing AI tools prior to ChatGPT. When ChatGPT dropped, the reason why everybody, you remember Bard? Some of you might remember Bard. The initial iteration of Google's AI chatbot was so terrible, it's because it wasn't ready. They were slow rolling that shit. They were working it. And then once ChatGPT dropped, because of the nature of capitalism, they had to accelerate that in order to stay relevant, right? They had to carve out some kind of market share. Now Gemini is one of the best, right? Definitely top 3. Depending on who you are, you're going to feel different ways, but it's one of the best.
Godly amounts of cash to win the AI race. This year, they're spending close to 400.
Oh, and Grok is because Elon Musk was with OpenAI and then or was like funding OpenAI, and he was like, all right, I want to fold OpenAI into Tesla, and everybody else said no, and he's like, all right, I want to take my money and go home, and they said, cool, well, I'm going to make my own AI with blackjack and hookers, and they said fine, and the rest is history.
$1 billion on building AI infrastructure like data centers and compute power. And they're projected to keep spending more and more every single year. The scale...
Because that's the way investment works, is if you don't have infrastructure, you have to build it, right? Like, you need more electrical infrastructure, we need to build that. It doesn't just manifest itself because you want it. You actually have to do stuff. And because we live under capitalism, doing stuff costs money.
Scale of this is unlike anything in the history of technology. More money went into building AI data centers the last 3 years than went into building the entire interstate highway system over 40 years. Big tech is literally funding the equivalent of an Apollo program every...
Oh, yeah, no, and 30 years ago, when we had a big power outage, they were talking about how far behind the electrical grid that is around Ohio, right? Which is, you know, a big chunk. How that all needed to be updated. And lo and behold, nobody did anything, right? A bunch of wildfires have happened because, especially in California, those companies have not wanted to update their infrastructure, right? Like, it's a whole fucking thing. There are houses. I say this as a contractor, ex-contractor, there are houses that exist in the city of Buffalo and still have what's called knob and tube, right? Which is wires, just fucking wires coated in fabric, if you're lucky, and they are wrapped around, like, show me this image. Make it big. This is knob and tube, right? This is old, old as fuck, right? And it's called knob and tube is because these are the knobs that, like, they are 2 pieces of ceramic with a nail running through that are held onto the thing, and then the tubes are these bits. Which are usually when it's fed through a bore or like this, there's supposed to be a tube on it. These ones I assume are to insulate it from, you know, contact with other sources. It still works great. I mean, as long as you don't touch it, it's awesome. But it's not grounded. There's so much, and this exists. There's houses filled with this shit. Filled with it, like, and people don't know because does the light turn on when I do the switch? Then the electricity must be great, right? Like, it's a whole fucking thing. And this all should be torn. It's still technically very legal. You should tear all this out and replace it with Romex or BX or something like that. And we don't, because it costs money. That's why Ghost Hunters found ghosts, because it generates a fucking electromagnetic field that sets off your little doohickey. So yeah, infrastructure costs money, dude.
10 months. Now, meanwhile, the rest of the economy, the one that all of us live in, well, it sucks ass. The job market sucks. People are cutting back on spending.
I wonder if there's anything that's driving that we should be focused on. Is there a particular thing that's happening? Yes, you should get if you have aluminum wire, you should definitely remove that shit. And also, fuck. There's a particular kind of electrical panel that is like a fire hazard. Been so long. I know it if I see it. But yeah, they're a fucking fire hazard.
And that means that the entire economy is being propped up by AI spending. In the first half of this year, AI investments accounted for all of GDP growth. It's the same if you look at the stock market. Just 7 big tech companies account for over half.
It's like, it's not Freedom Pacific, but it's something like that. It's a 2 name and there's an F in there. Fuck. Federal Pacific. Thank you. Yes. Federal Pacific. If you go... I hate to do this to all of you, but if you are in a place where you can access the electrical panel, go take a look at it. And if it says Federal Pacific, it needs to be replaced ASAP because it's fucking dangerous. It will fucking kill you.
Of gains in the S&P 500 over the last 3 years. And hey, remember Trump's tariffs, which are functionally a tax on the stuff regular people like us buy, and which data shows are starting to really affect the average American? Well, guess what? Trump exempted AI gear from the tariffs because it makes the economy look better and keeps the big tech CEOs in his sweaty little pocket. The fact is, if it weren't for all of this AI investment, we'd actually be in a recession right now. Our entire...
Correct. I made that point earlier.
Our economy has become one enormous bet on AI. And when you make a bet that big, you better be fucking sure it's going to pay off. So what is the bet exactly? Well, according to Mark Zuckerberg...
What up, Beef? Good. I'm glad to hear that. Tell your parents they did the correct thing. Congratulations. I'm glad they made it out the other side.
He needs all that money to create what he calls super intelligence, or AI that's smarter than humans. Now, I don't believe for a fucking second that that's going to exist, because the last 3 times Mark told me he was building something, he was fucking lying.
Yeah, but super intelligence is not something that Mark Zuckerberg came up with. That is something that existed outside of Mark Zuckerberg and existed in spaces where very serious people talk about very serious things and actually know what they're talking about. But by all means, reference Zuckerberg.
Lying. But hey, let's say he makes it happen. What is superintelligence for, Mark? Well, Mark says that it's a tool to empower us, but then in the next breath, he says it's going to be a new, more powerful way to keep us addicted to social media. Wow, thanks for saying. It's going to be a new, more powerful way to keep us addicted to social media. Wow, thanks for saying the quiet part out loud, buddy. Can't wait to be enslaved to your new AI slop-telligent god.
You know you can not be, right?
I have no mouth, yet I must scroll. The other thing these guys say they're investing all this money for is to replace human workers. Dario Amodei, who sounds like the manager of an Illy espresso shop,
literally every capitalist in history, after starting a business and hiring workers, has sought to replace those workers with automation. All of them. It's what they do. AI would just be the next kind of automation.
At the airport, but no, he's the CEO of Anthropic. He expects that AI will wipe out half of entry-level white-collar jobs in the next half-decade. Now, I just want to take a second to point out...
Right, which is him saying maybe socially we need to do something about that. that people are going to lose their jobs, and maybe socially we should do something about that. You can do that partly by regulating, but you can also do that by creating better safety nets. What up, Nemesis?
Out. I have yet to understand how that's a good thing. Like,
no, it's a good thing that people don't have to work. It's a fantastic fucking thing that people don't have to work. It's a wonderful thing. It's an amazing thing. We live for the weekend. We live for the day off. If you're lucky, we live for the vacation, right? Like, we work so that we can enjoy ourselves on the day off. Imagine if the day off was every day. That sounds wonderful. The only downside is that our survival is tied to our job. We need to not do that.
why is that his pitch? Why is that a bright side to anyone? Is it even good for the shareholders? Like, I know capitalists love to fire people, but if no one has any income, then no one can buy the shit you're making.
That's true also.
But whatever. That's what they say their goal is. They're going to build super intelligent AI, fire everyone, and then hook us all on their goddamn slop. The question is, can they do it? After all, you've been wrong before, Mark. And, you know, I really think they actually might not be able to do it. Because here's the really fascinating thing. The main impediment to building super intelligent AI might not be the technology. It might be the money. Because in order to pay for all the processing infrastructure they need to build this brave, screwed world, Bain estimates AI companies will have to earn $2 trillion annually by 2030. According to the Wall Street Journal, that is more than the combined 2024 revenue of Amazon, Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, and Nvidia combined. I'm going to say that again. They have less than 5 years.
Money isn't real.
To start earning more annual revenue than the 6 largest tech companies combined. And right now, there are
Yes, Textillion.
fucking failing to do so. Like Amazon fucking killed Walmart. They got to kill Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. They're not going to fucking do it. I mean,
Amazon didn't kill Walmart. Walmart still exists.
OpenAI's revenues are growing, but they were
Any
only
day now,
13
Nemesis.
billion this year. That's nothing, buddy. And Bain estimates that AI revenue overall is good.
That's a fucking great example, Leftist Corp, and I'm surprised I didn't think of it myself. Has USPS ever been profitable? No. It doesn't fucking matter. It's fucking service.
Going to be $800 billion short of where it's going to need to be.
Brad Paradigm has this drop that he does, and you should put this energy into a job. And that's how I feel with Adam. Maybe write something. Yeah, and Walmart killed the mom and pops.
2030. So right now, we have monumental private investments propping up the economy in the hope that they're going to make a super powerful technology that is guaranteed to make the world shittier if it works. But currently, it looks like it has no hope of paying out. We have a word for this, a word for an economic cycle.
No, you only believe it has no hope of paying out because you keep listening to Ed Zitron, your friend, Ed Zitron. Oh, there was a joke there, but I'm not going to make it because then Ed would sue me for like slander or defamation. I'm definitely not going to compare Ed Zitron to a disgraced financier. That's definitely not what I'm doing.
Cycle in which business investments and valuations are not supported by the underlying value or future revenue. It's called a bubble. And the thing about bubbles, as anyone who has played the classic app game Pimple Popper Lite can attest.
That's the third time he's mentioned that app. Are you sponsored by Pimple Popper Lite? Is that how far you have fallen, homie? And don't get me wrong, right? Like I've done video game fucking sponsorships. I enjoy them, right? Like sometimes I've even made a little bit of money on those, but This is the third time you mentioned it.
Is that they tend to pop, and when they do, it's not pretty. Like, okay, the theory of the valuation, the reason that OpenAI currently has the highest valuation of...
No, Sir Didymus, I wasn't talking about that kind of disgraced financier. I was talking about the other one. It's a lot. It's an inside joke in James's community.
Any company ever is that AI is going to unlock all those trillions in value by transforming the nature of work. But you know, if AI were good at transforming work, I think it would have transformed some of work already. And
it has.
It has not.
It has.
A number of studies have come out showing that AI,
including the ones that we just looked at, which show that you're wrong,
doesn't actually make workers more productive. In fact, it might make them less productive.
He's cherry picking a particular study that made senior developers, under some circumstances, slower than they thought they were.
An MIT report found that 95% of attempts by companies to use LLMs...
probably because he's a prick, Snoop. And there it is, the 95% he did, Pharaoh.
Did not turn a profit. And a University of Chicago study on the impact of AI chatbots on 7,000 Danish workplaces found similarly...
7,000 Danish workplaces. Fascinating choice. I believe we looked at that one. I can't remember what it said.
Minimal effects. Now, when you make this argument, when you say that we're not seeing really any productivity gain from AI at all...
No, we are, but go ahead.
Currently, the AI boosters always say the same thing. They say, yeah, but it's getting better.
No, we say it actually is doing the thing that you say it isn't. It is getting better. That also, using it is getting better, right? Like that's a propaganda technique, you absolute fucking hack. And there's people both within this community and within my private life, and I understand it's anecdotal, but they use it and are far more productive with AI than without.
It's getting better so fast, and
it is getting better fast. We just watched a video about how it can do longer tasks. Longer today, 7 months, doubling every 6 or 7 months in the amount of length of task it can do.
Get better forever. It's going to get better fast forever, better fast forever. But what if that's not fucking true?
But what if it is fucking true? That's it. That's all you got to do. Just take whatever they say and spit it right back around at them, because you don't have any evidence for your claims other than those studies, especially the 95% study, which all that tells me, because you're only talking about the 95% aspect, you didn't actually read the study or even invest in any analysis of the study or watch any analysis of the study and actually know what it actually says, you dumb fuck.
What if? Because, we actually already have evidence that these models won't get better forever. See, the logic behind pouring all this money into AI investment is that more computing power and more data equals better models, which
there you go, Pharaoh,
brings us closer to transformative, super intelligent AI. But right now, even though the models are getting more expensive and bigger, they're not getting that much better. Recent releases like GPT-5, Elon Musk's Grok 4, and Meta's Llama have all failed to live up to the hype.
What about Gemini? What about Claude? Why didn't you mention those, Adam?
We've been promised super intelligence, but what we're getting is somewhat better in very specific use cases intelligence. It turns out that just making large language models bigger and more expensive isn't going to get us to anything transformative. LLMs are a specific technology that has specific uses and limitations.
Now, representative of all of AI, right? We're specifically speaking about LLMs. When it serves our need, Adam, we say the LLMs is very specific purpose. But when we need to talk about why Sora means that AI isn't doing jack shit, we say AI, right? Sora means that AI isn't doing anything with cancer.
All you've built is a car. Pouring a lot of money into turbocharging your car isn't going to let you fly eventually. For that, you need a fucking plane.
I mean, you know, you could take it up a ramp. If you supercharge it enough, you go up the ramp and you'll fly for an amount of time.
Even actual AI experts are getting wary of these claims of imminent superintelligence that the CEOs are constantly hyping. In a survey, 3/4 of researchers responded that it was unlikely or
3/4 of respondent researchers responded.
Very unlikely that current approaches could make AI smarter than people. So if scaling doesn't work anymore and tech companies don't radically change their approach, well, it looks like every new model is just an investment in a deeper, shinier trillion-dollar ditch. Another sign that we're in a bubble is that the investors have lost their goddamn common sense and are throwing money at literally...
That must be it. They're not investing because they think they'll make money. They've just lost their common sense. Ed Zitron told me that the investor money was drying up, but apparently it's not, or something.
The flimsiest AI companies in existence. Take this story. When former OpenAI executive Mira Muratai arrived at a pitch meeting for her company,
Mira Murati,
Thinking Machine.
At least learn people's names, you fucking degenerate fuck.
She didn't demo a product.
Degenerate's a wrong word. It's a bad word. I shouldn't use that word. I don't know. Fuck you.
Product. She didn't even have a potential product to describe. According to someone there, quote, she was like, so we're doing an AI company with the best AI people, but we can't answer any questions about it. Despite that, her nothing company has raised $2 billion, the largest round of seed funding ever. Hey guys!
This is what I was looking for. I think that video is AI generated. It's the artificial intelligence. But yeah, they did release a new product. So that's what I was trying to get at. And again, Adam doesn't research shit. He makes shit. Theo has a good video about how it looks like it's always unpredictable, but it's just the training of every next model massively envelops the profit of previous models, and every model has produced more profit than the cost of training it. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. What up, Nero? Well, Globus, I am now learning from an ex-government contractor, got me into Claude and Claude Code, among more sites for data science. Good? Congratulations. Is that, do you think that's a good thing? I hope you feel it's a good thing. Learning stuff is generally a good thing, in my opinion. As a side note, the whole series of his makes me glad I was never super into his stuff, because it kind of takes his previous. 100%, Brad. That's exactly what I was saying earlier. Is like, I used to like Adam Ruins Everything, and now I feel that because of how I understand this particular subject, and I understand the nature of propaganda, and I understand the nature of YouTube video production, not an expert in any of these things, but enough to know when Adam is fucking lying to people. Like, what is he looking at right now? No, yeah. I'm with you. It totally does the fucking thing. Douche canoe. Turd burglar is actually an anti-gay slur. We don't do that. Mouth breather is also a slur. Douche canoe. Probably still good. Could be bad. Welcome to 2025. All the shit we used to say we get. No, you're fine. Like, every day we learn, right? Every day we learn new fucking things. That's why I generally just go with dipshit, right? Like, dipshit, as far as I know, is not bad.
I also have an AI company that I can't say anything about. Can I have $2 billion?
Shitwit?
It's called Item. Eh? It's got AI in the fucking name. Give me the money, motherfuckers. You know, savvy Wall Street investors in their right minds don't typically shell out billions of dollars for a super secret special promise. But hey, say the word AI to them and these dumbasses can't keep their wallets in their pants. I mean,
Right, exactly, Leftist Corp.
there is so much dumb money sloshing around AI right now that the AI companies themselves are just flagrantly wasting it. Mark Zuckerberg is offering AI researchers payment packages of up to $400 million.
So people getting paid is wasting money? Is Adam Conover alleged hero of the proletariat, a outspoken member of the SAG-AFTRA union, saying that people getting paid is a waste of money? That's a fascinating fucking take.
Over 4 years. I mean, that's more than fucking Shohei Ohtani makes, but instead of hitting
Right, Leftist Corp. And that's why, like, I wasn't sure about dipshit. Dumb, stupid, idiot, moron. Those are all, like, verboten because of that exact thing. Smarm Weasel. That we can work with. Smarm Weasel, Adam Conover. Smart Weasel, I think that's fan-fucking-tastic.
home runs, these guys are writing software that might never become profitable. And you don't even get to eat a hot dog while you watch them do it. Or let's take another metaphor. The AI market is so frothy that the billionaires are now buying and selling AI programmers like they're Pokemon cards. But these guys aren't shiny Charizards, and once the bubble pops, they'll be useless.
That's how Ed Zitron gets people, Nero, is because they, like, Ed Zitron talks a good game and especially appeals to, like, certain kinds of liberals. And in that context, he makes them feel smart. And he gives them these little chunky anecdotes and little, phrases that they can say and sound smart about subjects to their friends. And that's why they like him, right? But if you actually pay attention to what he's doing, he's the anti-tech fucking Joe Rogan. He is not good at this. He provides you with very little verifiable facts. He just fucking goes off and says a bunch of shit and you have no way to fact check him.
That is why, at the same time as we're seeing truly bonkers money flying around this industry, we're also seeing corporate attempts to hide spending that they know is unjustifiable. The biggest AI companies are using abracadabra accounting to hide how much they're spending on AI and to inflate their profits so that their investors don't freak out.
Okay,
Hey,
Ted
it's not
Cruz.
fraud, but it's close. Now, another response to the accusation that AI is a bubble might be that it's a long-term investment, like the railroads were back in the 19th century.
Yes, Adam, I am fascinated. Finally, someone addressing one of the things that I have made an argument about. Hey, maybe Adam watches the show. If so, go fuck yourself. I'm fascinated to see where he comes off on this one.
Back then, companies poured money into this new infrastructure, spending way more as a percentage of GDP than we're seeing today.
Look, Pharaoh, it's not unprecedented.
With AI, actually. But here's the difference. Railroads last decades, and AI infrastructure does not. It relies on having the fastest, most up-to-date processors. And as any gamer who's bought a new graphics card knows, that has a shelf life. All those fancy new processors they're spending billions on will need to be replaced in the next 5 or 10 years. So these companies might spend all this money, then find they can't make a profit and be left with hundreds of billions of dollars worth of junk graphic cards that will either need to be scrapped or, I don't know, shipped to developing countries so
or recycled, which is why we should push for recycling as a thing, because it's all still metal and shit. It's just separating out the different components and turning them back into their base materials and then using them to make new stuff. You don't do anything with not unprecedented. It was just nice to see.
poor kids in Super Bowl t-shirts can play Fortnite. But you know, if you need any more proof that AI is a bubble, well, just listen to the people in charge of it, because they literally say that it's a bubble. Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but see, one of the things, one of the reasons, like without getting too deep, because I do have to wrap this up soon, why it's not like the .com bubble is if you look with not who was investing, but what was being invested in, right? Like you have a website being invested in, and there was no supporting infrastructure to make a website profitable, right? Like we did not have the shopping internet that we do today, you know? So like at that time, yeah, you would have a website, but I didn't have the faith necessarily to put my credit card information in there. We didn't have PayPal. There was a lot of the infrastructure that had to be built in order for those things to be effective, right? Like, and that's where we are. They are building the infrastructure to make the AI effective. So it's not the same as the .com bubble. As an example, there are many reasons why it's not.
Zuckerberg called AI collapse a definite possibility, and Sam Altman said, "Are we in a phase where investors as a whole are overexcited about AI? My opinion is yes. Even the fucking investors themselves agree. So why are they going along with it anyway? Well, maybe it's because they understand that destructive bubbles like this are just a fundamental feature of capitalism, and they expect..."
This is true, right? Bubbles are a function of capitalism, and if it does turn out to be a bubble, the .com bubble did not mean the end of the internet or the end of websites. It led to everything that we have here today. So even if it does turn out that it is in fact a bubble, after all the dust settles, there's still going to be AI. There are still going to be data centers. This is why their arguments are garbage, is because all the things that are being built that might be part of the bubble will still exist after the bubble. Exactly, Snoop.
To profit anyway. See, technological advances often come with a torrent of stupid cash, much of which is lost. A study which examined 51 innovations between 1825 and 2000 found that 37 were accompanied by bubbles. And
14 were not. So there's a 66% chance that it's a bubble and a 33% chance that it isn't. And if you combine my 66% chance with my 25% chance of winning at Backlash, Samoa Joe,
the price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay.
Thank you for the Prime subby. I feel like I earned that one. I appreciate it very much.
AI bubble is the biggest one yet. It is much larger than the .com bubble of 25 years ago. And according to tech investor Roger McNamee, this bubble is bigger than all of those other tech bubbles put together. So wonderful. The big tech investors know that they're building a bubble.
So there was one guy. What is you were talking about numbers of people before, but now it's one guy says this. What about the rest?
Bubble, they know it's going to pop and they know that it is going to be disastrous. But here's the secret. They just don't think they are going to be the ones to lose money. Because what happens when that bubble pops? Well, the tech companies will be fine. They're spending their own cash on this, and they are such a huge piece of the total market, they're not in any danger. The broader banking system, likewise, won't fall apart. And, if OpenAI crumbles, I think Sam is going to be fine. He's set for life, right? After all, you don't trick other people into pouring billions into your favorite hole without keeping a little taste for yourself, do you, Sammy? No. You know who's really going to suffer when the bubble bursts? It's going to be regular people.
Yeah, because capitalism sucks. Capitalism has fucked us continuously. It's not different because AI is involved.
62% of Americans own stocks in some form or another, whether that's their pension plan, their 401k, or something else they might not even know.
62% of Americans own stocks, sure. It's adorable. 10% of Americans own the majority of the stocks, right? We're just there. If you are invested in the stock market and you are not getting fleeced, good on you.
And stocks make up a third of the entire net worth of American households. That's retirement funds. That's college funds. If this bubble bursts, it's those people, i.e. most Americans, who will lose. And even if you don't have stocks, well...
So maybe we should do something about those underlying issues that will happen if a bubble were to burst. Any kind of bubble. At all. Ever.
If this bubble pops, it will radiate through the entire economy. Spending will plummet, jobs will be lost, real people will be hurt.
And now we get to the fear portion to really drive it home.
Just not the people who caused the bubble in the first place.
That's capitalism, my dude.
They will profit. The tech investors know that they're shoving dollars into a bubble. They know that they have no plan. They know that money will be lost, and they know that real people will be hurt. But they can't let us know that.
They don't care if we know that, dipshit. It's fucking capitalism. They do it in front of you. It's not hidden. Right? This is the thing that people do. The Joe Rogan, it's like, this is what they don't want you to know.
Instead, they have to keep the hype cycle going so that all of us keep talking about AI, keep thinking that the next advancement is right around the corner. And that is why, instead of the real advanced superhuman AI that changes the world they've been promising, we get Sora. Sam Altman needs the
You're just, I don't even.
Appearance of AI progress, and he needs constant press to fuel his grift. And a social media slop app that violates copyright and allows people to humiliate dead celebrities is fucking perfect for that. Sora doesn't make money. It sure as hell doesn't cure cancer. Hell, even if it beats TikTok, it wouldn't make nearly enough revenue to be a drop in the bucket because
if it beats TikTok,
because they lose money on every fucking video.
According to Ed Zitron, who presented no evidence and said at least this much and probably more.
All Sora does is get Altman attention, which buys him time to suck up more investor dollars and keep the scam going a little while longer. But the money can't last forever.
Why not? Why does it got to be your way? Why can't it be a different way?
And I kind of expect that as these companies struggle to make an AI that actually does anything worthwhile, like they told us they were.
There's a bunch of AIs that do stuff worthwhile, and people use them all the time, and I am one of those people, so go fuck yourself.
We're going to see more Soras, more flailing, desperate attempts to make something, anything that keeps the party going with all this cash. In fact, we already are. Meta released its own TikTok AI knockoff, and I'm sure there's more to come. Now, look, I could be wrong about all this, but, I would say just ask.
You sounded pretty confident to end with, I could be wrong about all this.
Yourself this. If they really are planning something better, where the f is it? They're building.
I don't know. Shit takes time, dipshit. Why this TV is so thin and lightweight compared to the fucking 200-pound monstrosity I had, 30, 40 years ago? This shit takes time, bro.
The most expensive infrastructure project in recent history. And all they have released is a psychologically abusive Google replacement and a new version of TikTok where you watch slop all day. That's it. Those are the products that we have in hand.
Subjective point of view, go fuck yourself.
So I've made this point before, but the way to fight back against these people is to use our human brains, to stop listening to their thought experiments and sci-fi.
This is a bold claim coming from you.
Stories, and focus on what they are actually building and what they have actually made. Altman is not a super genius. He's a super salesman.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And right now, he is not building a super intelligent AI. He's building a disinformation factory and social media app. And
I mean, you're a fucking disinformation factory. Smart weasel.
Can use your human brain to ask yourself why and how he benefits. Hey,
why is Adam like this, and how does Adam benefit? Why is Ed Zitron like this, and how does Ed Zitron benefit?
You know what? Let's ask Sam himself.
I only built this harmful, money-losing app to trick investors into shoveling more money into my hole.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that clip is real, by the way.
Nice job, Adam. You still suck at everything. All right, that's gonna be it. Let me get you stick around for the raid. Thank you for participating in all of this. You did it, chat. I will be back. What up, Raza? I will be back next Thursday at 6 p.m. I do have a raid target. There's somebody new. I thought on their schedule that they were going to be live. Actually, are they not live? Supposed to be streaming until 10 o'clock. I was shouted out by them, and then I saw Digital in their chat when I was looking at the replay. Everybody's watching this same fucking video. Holy shit. No, I guess dude isn't live. Did you have somebody, Textillion? Because I got a couple of people I can absolutely raid, but if you have somebody... Everybody's watching the same fucking video. Near. Where is Laney? Hey, Laney. I wonder if I'm not getting all my... Oh, they're there. Yeah, we'll raid Laney. I don't know, it's some video of some fat cop. I don't know what video it is. I just see them all watching it. Stick around for the raid. You know how this works. I will be back next Thursday. Pray for me because I'm working 8 days straight, including the fucking entire election day. I hope to see all of you back in a week. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Shaggy loves you. So do I. Be great.